Welcome back. New reports suggest the working middle class in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area could soon be squeezed out of the region due to the ongoing housing crisis. For the details on this, let's bring in CB24's CJ Liu. CJ.
Hi, Jamie. This study by Civic Action focused on working middle class. This is anyone who makes around $43,000 a year to $123,000 a year. And it can be anyone from teachers, nurses, transit workers, a lot of essential workers in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton region. And for more on this study, I'm joined by the CEO of Civic Action, Leslie Wu. Leslie, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
And in your study, you refer to the term invisible poor, saying a lot of working middle class people fall into this category. What do you mean by that term?
What we are referring to is the fact that so many folks who are employed have jobs. I think we assume they're managing through because from a housing standpoint and their ability to afford housing, they're able to make ends meet. But it's invisible because we are just making that assumption. But the research really points to the fact that these individuals, making up 50% of the population in the Greater Toronto-Hamilton area, are being stuck with really difficult choices between how they care for their family, their own well-being and mental health, and their ability to be productive contributors to our economy. And so the result is really that we're not seeing it, but it is of a scale that we urgently need to pay attention to.
And like you mentioned, this is not just an impact on their personal well-being. There are impacts to the greater society when it comes to the economy, infrastructure. Can you highlight some of your findings on how the wider society might be impacted by this?
Yeah, so let's use an example of the economy. Right now, for every dollar that we don't invest in workforce housing for middle-income folks, we are basically eliminating the opportunity 4 times over to affect better productivity. So for every dollar we invest in workforce housing, companies that can see a 31% less in turnover and 22% less in absenteeism. So it's affecting, teachers' ability to come to work and show up 100%, the ability of transit workers to be where they need to be, or construction workers to really be part of making the solutions on housing themselves.
And Leslie, we have about 20 seconds or so. Any sort of call to action following this report?
I think the report is one of 4. We intend to release a series of reports on solutions and actions. But already we know one of the biggest gaps is the fragmentation and the need for governments and the private sector and the not-for-profit sector to work more collaboratively together. And that is our call at its essence.
Very interesting study. Leslie Wu with Civic Action. Thanks so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your interest.